This is Nerd Hat.
This is Nerd Hat.
This is Nerd Hat.
Hey, Nerd Hatters. We're here with our daughter. Alma, did you want to say something?
Are you singing, Alma? Good job. That was beautiful.
Can you say yay?
Yay!
Alma, can you say pencil? There you go. Perfect.
Nerds.
Alma, can you say Uncle Will?
Can you say Jolene?
That's awesome. That's
Little
awesome.
Omen child. Uncle Will. I'm going to haunt you in your sleep later, Uncle Will. Hey, Nerd Hatters. Nerds, nerd persons, assorted nerd personnel. William, how you doing, sir? Shh, Alma. Okay, it's time to be quiet so mommy and daddy can talk with Mr. Will.
So this is our second attempt at recording.
Yeah, second tip. Yeah, the first one was interrupted by loss of internet access. So what are we here to do aside from interviewing my daughter? Will,
what's this about? What's this terribly titled movie about?
yeah, and what is that movie? Because we need to retell that.
Well, as the audience obviously doesn't know, we're covering Slotherhouse.
Slotherhouse.
Such a bad title.
The most random movie we've ever covered. That'll be in the title.
So,
No, Alma. Get back up here.
Laura, this movie is about a sloth
Oh gosh.
taken from the rainforest and decides to murder everybody it sees.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
No.
So the majority of the film takes place in a sorority house.
Oh, this is just keeps getting worse.
And one of the sisters wants to be the sorority president. And her friend talks her into obtaining a sloth as a means of increasing her Instagram followers and thus increasing her chances of being elected president of the sorority house.
You're kidding.
Where does she get the sloth from, Will?
Well, after the sloth murders the giant crocodile, poachers are able to sneak up on it and tranquilize it, and thus bring it to America.
Where was it?
In the Amazon.
Panama, the Panamanian jungle, I believe, or
Okay.
Panama. I think they said Panama. Yeah. Later on, he's in Panama.
Good old Panama.
You know,
Yeah,
you
just
know
kinda
what?
random.
You know what though? What I don't know how many minutes we are into this episode, but this is already better than Aquaman. So I'm all in. Let's go.
This might be a movie so bad that it's good.
Yeah.
What do you
Like, does it get worse? Because that might be awesome. Okay, so the sloth has been procured.
So our main protagonist, what's her name?
Hold on.
Because
Let's do a rundown of the characters real quick here.
I can't remember.
So here on this is off of ye old Wikipedia. So the basic premise, as we already described, Emily Young, who's the main character, adopts a pet three-toed sloth, who she later names Alpha, with the goal of using it to gain votes to become head of the Sigma Lambda Theta sorority.
So bad.
The pet is loved by all until it begins to kill the sorority girls one by one. The girls must escape the sloth before they die.
How does it kill them?
Slasher. It's a slasher.
Do you see it or do you just?
It's PG-13, so you don't see it directly, but it's a lot of implied slashing.
Oh, so stupid.
The puppet.
Yeah, they used a puppet. They didn't use a real sloth. No sloths were harmed in the making of this movie.
They couldn't. They would gotten arrested.
Yeah, PETA would have protested.
I love the part of the film where Alpha the sloth is reclining in a sunbathing chair with sunglasses and a Coca-Cola and a phone, and it's just kind of like, what up?
It's a female sloth, by the way. So a rundown of the characters. So we kind of have a main core of characters. We have Emily. No, Alma, don't touch that. We have Emily, who kind of has a heritage. Her mother was once the president of the sorority house, and she has dreams of also being the president. But
these people need to like achieve dream just a little bit bigger, not too much bigger, but like just a little bit more.
Well, stay tuned. The movie might have something to say about that.
Oh.
But her rival and the reigning president, I think for the first 3 years of their time in college, is Brianna. Emily, by the way, is played by actress Lisa Ambalavanar. I'm probably saying that wrong. Ambalavanar. And Sydney Craven plays Brianna. Emily's boyfriend, Tyler, is played by Andrew Horton. And then Zenny, a friend of Emily, is played by Bianca Beckles-Rose. And Emily's closest friend, Madison, is played by Olivia Rure. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong.
I'd love to know how they found out about this script and then what their agents told them about it. Like, hey, look, this is going to be trash, but you never know where it might lead. You never know. They're like, I'll do it.
Well, according to Wikipedia, the concept for Slotherhouse originated when the film's co-writer Bradley Fowler tried to come up with, quote, the dumbest idea he could think of. Katie Lanigan, who co-wrote the film, described the concept as, quote, like Mean Girls meets Happy Death Day with a touch of Gremlins.
Oh, gosh.
Lanigan stated that the film was inspired by classic horror films and their use of practical effects. So, Will, what was it? What was it about the thumbnail or the description that made you want to see this movie when you first saw it pop up on your Hulu feed back in the day?
Well, Richard, it was the dumbest idea I never heard of, and it was beautiful.
Sounds like that's exactly what they were aiming for. So, like, this is a movie that knows it's a B movie and knows it's ridiculous, and it owns it.
I mean, isn't B movie too gracious?
No, I would say this falls into the B movie category because it's well produced. The cinematography is actually pretty solid. The acting's not bad. It made me laugh multiple times.
Okay.
But I think part of that is it is very self-aware. Like
Okay.
it knows what it knows what it wants to
That
be.
changes the movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not trying to be the world's greatest comedy. It's trying to be so bad that it's good. It's trying to be dumb and over the top.
Yeah.
And I think it hits that pretty well. What would you say? What?
My kind of film.
Yeah, the plot's not super deep. It is basically a slasher. But they do have that's the main plot, is she brings the sloth back, and then the sloth proceeds to one by one initially kill the sorority girls off. And then, the final night is the initiation night, the election night, when the new president of the sorority is elected, and there's a big party. And then not quite a massacre, but the sloth definitely kills multiple girls in one night at that point.
What do you see though? Or you just see a body? Like, I'm curious.
Well, you see the puppet slash the girls with its claws, and at one point the sloth gets a gun.
Oh yeah.
Guns, knives.
And this sloth is effectively indestructible. Like it gets stabbed, it gets thrown out a window, it gets shot at least 10 times. It gets bludgeoned, and somehow still kicking. It's a supernaturally strong. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Will?
And an upside down crown into its forehead.
Oh yeah, it gets stabbed with the sorority queen's crown.
Oh my gosh!
Right.
So sad.
Right in the skull. There's a lot of blood. There's quite a bit of blood in this. It is PG-13, but yeah, it's not gruesome. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of death and a decent amount of blood. But how would you say the film handles those deaths, Will?
Hilariously.
Yeah, and what were you gonna say?
Hilariously and irreverently.
Oh yeah, it's great. Like you have the classic like horror shots and like the the crooked angles and the close-ups and the jumps. But then, the villain is a sloth puppet.
Oh my
So it's
goodness.
like lighted in a creepy way. There's like thunder and lightning. The power is off, and like you'll see the sloth over here, and it's really fast. Like that's part of what makes it funny too. Is like the sloth is really fast. Like you'll see the sloth over here, and then the lightning will go off, and then all of a sudden the sloth is here in your face, like,
Oh
and
my
then he
gosh.
kills the girl.
Oh my gosh.
See, you want to talk about some of the different ways the sloth, or some of the different scenarios of its murder?
Well, in one scene, the sloth climbs into the ceiling of the bathhouse while the girls are doing initiation rites and decides to try to boil them to death.
Oh, how creative.
Most of the girls die from this.
Oh, you mean the
Oh,
when it tries to electrocute them? You mean?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, so after it floods the bathroom, it cuts a cord. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So they have this. It's really dumb. But it's supposed to be. But as part of their one of their initiation, I don't know if it's initiation, right? But it's a part of the party every year. What they call it, the shower. No, Alma. The shower trust test or something. That's it's like a
Yeah,
shower trust fall. It's like you get blindfolded, you get in the shower fully clothed, and you don't know whether the other girls are going to turn the water on freezing cold or scalding hot. You just have to get in.
and just trust.
I just don't trust the intelligence of the people who would want to be a part of this kind of group. Like there's lots of red flags. I'm just saying.
Well, the sorority house mother, who's I think we're supposed to think she's in like her late 30s or something, is someone who has a sad life. Like we find out towards the end as she's dying that she actually has a law degree, but was so obsessed with being named president that she decided to stay as sorority house mother in the hopes that maybe someday the girls would choose her to be president
Of what? The
of,
house?
of the sorority house or the
Stupid.
sorority, I guess. Um, and it's played up for laughs. Like as she's dying, she's in the room with the other main character, Emily, and Emily's listening empathetically as she's dying, and then she just has to stop because she's like, wait, you seriously thought that the girls would nominate you to be house president without you saying anything about it?
So, at about this point in the film, we actually pause for a moral message, and I don't remember what that message was, but I question whether or not it took us out of the film.
I kind of liked it. I think it purposefully took us out of the film. So Miss Mayflower is the name of that character, played by Tiff Stevenson. This is
Is
her.
she white?
Oh yeah, I think with one exception, I think they're all white. Like basic bitches, that kind of idea plays on that very much, that stereotype. But it like I said, it's self-aware about it. It knows that it's playing with that stereotype.
Right.
But no, she basically gives a like, don't waste your life. Don't waste your life like I did. Obsessed with being popular, obsessed with being president of the sorority house.
So stupid.
And Emily basically agrees with her. It's like, you had a law degree? It's like, yeah, I probably should have used that. It's like, yeah, you should have.
Oh my gosh.
So we get a little life lesson right in there, and it does kind of pause and take you out of the film, but I think that's on purpose. Like it seemed very purposeful. It's like, let's just pause right here and give like a sitcom level life lesson right in the middle of everyone dying.
So my question of was there any character development doesn't really apply to this movie. That's what I'm
I mean,
sensing.
it could.
No, I don't think
I don't
so.
know. What do you think, Will? What do you think?
Well,
Character development?
I guess if you count the moral message changing the protagonist's mind, and the bully becomes a friend, I guess.
Yeah, there is actually, believe it or not, there is actually some character development.
I'll take it. Sure.
So I guess the lessons that Emily learns is like not to be obsessed with popularity, whether it be on Instagram or whether it be being elected president, you know. And she kind of where she does harm is she begins to neglect her friends in order to win the election, and she also takes advantage of an animal who was stolen from its homeland, I guess, for lack of a better term, from its natural habitat. Which her friend, who is an advocate for animals, tells her like, you need to take the sloth back. You know, you take it back to her home. Which the sloth, you know, very ungrateful sloth. You know,
Yes.
here this friend is trying to get the sloth sent back home, which the sloth wants. And what does the sloth do? The sloth tries to kill Madison.
I think there's something wrong with the sloth. I just
Oh,
make
yeah.
make that clear.
The sloth is deranged. Like, it was murderous before it came over. Like, it we see that, like, it murders the guy that abducted it, so to speak, the poacher. Like, and
You guys mentioned that this director was like, "What is this dumbest thing I can think of?"
the writer?
Yeah, or the writer did they write anything else?
Yeah, I was looking up. Let me see.
Do you know? Well,
I got IMDb here. Hold on.
No, I'm gonna
So
wait for Richard.
The main writer, Bradley Fowler. So he's an actor, writer, and producer. So let's see what else he's written.
while he's looking that up, hey, Will, how's it going, man?
So he was a writer on for a TV movie called Love Off the Page. Another movie called The Voices, a short film called Good Girl, another short film called Crib, another short film called Byom Byom. Some looks like a movie called Love Meet Hope, and then a couple of other short films. And then he's also been in.
Heard of any of these things? Not that I see stuff, but I'm just saying I haven't heard of.
I think I've heard.
He's a actor from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Well, that was fun to know. You know, I feel like I have gained some knowledge, some insight, some historical facts. So I feel like I'm going away as a fuller human being. What do you think, Will?
I like puppets.
You like puppets. You know, I do give them points for that, for puppetry. You know, that's not an easy thing to do. And I don't know. It just it looks better, I think. But that's just me.
This podcast would not be successful without you, the listener. We are grateful for every download, comment, follow, and rating. While our main episodes will always be free, we do have some basic costs like hosting fees, marketing, and of course, the recording equipment and software we use. Would you consider supporting us with a monthly donation of $3, $5, $8, or $10? Just follow the link in the show notes or on our link tree to become a supporter now. Thank you so much, nerds. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
So,
sorry, go ahead, Will.
Let's say things in order to fill up space.
Well, I have some things to say, or to read rather. So I thought, given that this doesn't have a ton of plot,
Not
we
really.
could talk a little bit about what Rotten Tomatoes thinks of it and what it has to say. I was actually surprised. This has a 61% on Rotten Tomatoes.
So high.
Which I'm like, might be a little high, but like
so
compared to some other movies, like, yeah, that does seem a little high. The The audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes is 71%. Yeah, I was a little surprised. The critics' consensus: as bonkers as a killer arboreal edentate mammal. Don't know what that means. I've never heard the word edentate. Have you?
Nope.
Slotherhouse delivers B-movie thrills to gore lovers and Greek life haters alike.
I didn't know there was a group of people like that.
So I'll just read a little bit from some of the critics. Anton Battelle from the website Little White Lies says the killer creature embodies all the tensions and aggressions in a hyper-competitive scenario that is part Mean Girls, part election. This commits to its absurdly dumb bit while slyly promoting sisterhood. Leslie Felperin from The Guardian says that beyond that one joke setup and the title itself, Slotherhouse is sadly not that funny, even accounting for the fact that it has such a soft target in the American campus Greek system. She gives it 2 out of 5. Vicky Lawrence from, I guess this is a website called Starburst. While it could have been a really cheap-looking, awful creature feature that relies on blood to stay interesting, it's the complete opposite. It's a near masterpiece. 4 out of 5 tomatoes.
Yeah.
Katie Hogan from Film Hounds magazine says this hammed-up creature feature slasher horror is ridiculous enough to enjoy if you're not looking for anything too engrossing. That sounds about right. A couple of audience reviews here just for fun. Spooky Crumbles M gives this a half star. Says, I'm into horror comedies, but this just wasn't humorous or well written. I appreciate the film's title, however. At least that elicited a chuckle. Declan S gives it 5 stars. Says, a perfect blend of horror and comedy. Slotherhouse provides a perfect movie in every way. Karen gives it a half star. It says, this might be one of the worst movies my eyes have ever seen. Oh my God. This was absolutely unbearable. The sloth is the worst looking robot I've ever seen. The whole message was about leaving animals in the wild when the sloth looks at a picture of a rainforest and says the word home before dying after being shot and stabbed numerous times. This was so horrible. I knew it was going to be bad and I wanted a funny bad movie, but this was just terrible.
Well, it makes me want to go see it. Sign me up for this mistake.
So I think that person shut it off before the ending because the sloth lives.
Yes, the sloth does live. We see at the very end, not quite a cutscene, but kind of a cutscene. Like it's still alive in Panama, and then the implication is it decapitates a 13-year-old girl who's taking a selfie with it.
That's what you get. I'm sorry.
Speaking of selfies, Will, do you remember what the sloth does with the cell phone once it gets a hold of it?
Oh yeah, it starts taking all these selfies and hashtagging them killer sloth and what should I do next? The sloth takes photos of itself with all the dead bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, and it does the hashtags and then it takes one before it attempts to kill, I should say, Madison, and it's like, what should I do next? Then it attempts to smother her with a pillow, but spoiler warning, she survives. And later shoots the sloth, saving some of her friends.
Well, we forgot about the samurai sword.
Yeah, so Zenny has a samurai sword, which I think they introduced earlier in the film, if memory serves me. She also has throwing knives, which she can't seem to hit the sloth with. She threw 5 of them and missed all 5 times.
I just feel like, was this a lot of energy to make, and did it need to be made? I just, as a tired adult, as an exhausted millennial, I'm kind of like, was this worth the energy it took?
Did it need to be made? No. Was it worth it? Yes.
I think I agree with Will.
Okay. All right.
it was at least worth the time it took to watch it. That's for sure.
Okay. All right.
Like,
All right. I'll take
I
it.
feel like the people that made it probably had a lot of fun making it.
Okay.
If
Okay.
I had to guess,
That counts for something.
assuming the director was not a jerk, because occasionally directors are jerks, but if he was able to create a fun atmosphere, then I could see something like this being a lot of fun. Yeah, it's like gets you some resume building, I guess.
Yes.
But yeah,
What did you do last? I played a part in Slotherhouse.
It does have a very pro animal rights message. This is where some of the character development comes in. All four of the main female characters, at the end of the movie, it's 4 years later, I think, and they have come back to the sorority house as part of this organization that helps to raise money and awareness, for animal rights, basically.
So there was a point to this too. It just feels extra. It just feels extra.
I think that was a
okay.
bit tongue in cheek as well, but it may be that the creators were somewhat serious about it. I mean, they didn't use any real sloths at all. It was only the puppet. It sounds like that was intentional. So yeah, maybe at least one of the writers had a pro animal stance or animal rights background.
Okay.
Perhaps. So it does have some positive messages.
It's just I don't know, guys. I just don't know.
One thing, and I guess maybe this is part of the comedy. I'm assuming this part was intentional. Well, how long would you say it takes the sorority sisters to notice that like 5 or 6 of their sisters are missing?
Like, not until like the climax of the film. I was kind of like, is no one looking for these girls? Is there no smell coming from their dorms?
Yeah, they're like dead in their dorm rooms. The doors are locked.
I just don't
And you're
think
like-
sororities or fraternities that exist has anything positive come out of that. I'm sorry, I have been drinking.
It's a good question.
That's why
I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, why do we still do this to each other? Why do canvases do this? This is unnecessary.
Yeah,
I was never. Your college have sororities?
Do what?
Yours sort of did, but
Mine
not,
did,
not,
but it
not in
wasn't
this
profane and pointless.
There wasn't drinking involved.
There was not drinking involved.
At least not open drinking.
Or open public humiliation. There wasn't any of that.
Or sex parties.
No.
Yeah,
No, I just like, what's the point? Why? It's not working.
Fair question.
I don't know. But yeah, I feel like it's unnecessary. So Will. Here's the what are you, can I go to ratings? Is that okay?
We can start heading that direction. We got about 9 minutes.
So like, why? Just why? That's all. I don't have much. Why? I feel like all of my real sustainable questions don't just kind of fall flat with this movie. And it's still better than Aquaman. It's still
I have to say, I think I did enjoy it more than Aquaman
because it knows itself. That's what it is. It knows itself. Aquaman, no, never mind. I'll say it later. No. No. So Aquaman had was that creepy guy that I think is a murderer? The serial killer?
Patrick Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, nothing good will ever.
That's where Aquaman tried to infuse humor into
it didn't work.
And no, like honestly, this movie was more funny than Arthur Curry's
I think
Aquaman.
So.
Like the jokes.
You said wait, hold on.
None of the jokes.
Will, you said
landed.
you don't think so?
No, I think
Okay.
you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, none of the jokes landed for me in Aquaman. Like they were all just like, this is dumb. Like who wrote this?
It's a lot of money to make that movie too.
Visually, it was gorgeous.
I love who wrote this.
Yeah, I like that. He's like, what's the dumbest idea I can come up with? And I'm gonna see if I can make a movie out of it.
That is so expensive.
I mean,
so expensive.
I'm pretty sure it had a small budget. Although
who are these people? who can just be like, you know what? Yeah.
They have to get funding. So
from who? Who was like, you got this?
production companies, investors, maybe a Kickstarter. I don't know. It's a small enough film.
I just don't understand.
They
I
could
don't
have.
understand.
Independent film.
I don't understand.
They could have done a GoFundMe or something, a Kickstarter. That makes a lot of sense.
It's possible. I saw there was at least half a dozen production companies involved. So it sounds like it was very much a joint effort getting this off the ground. So maybe a lot of small production houses all collaborating. But yeah, I saw like on for Halloween comedies on Disney Plus, this was like the number 4 suggestion. Up on in the Halloween section. So I was like,
that's where I've seen it.
It's getting some exposure. Yeah. For a comedy.
I think the cover
like
cover
horror
art's
comedy.
not bad. I think the cover
Yeah, it kind of grabs you.
You're like, hey, that's a what the hell? it's good. It's good. It's good.
And to kind of add to the self-awareness, at one point, like almost everyone's dead at this point. There's like 5 people left, and the boyfriend Tyler makes a joke. They're like his girlfriend wants to go back in to save the evil sorority president, you know, the bitch of the movie, I guess you would say, like the brat, the bitch. But she's like, I'm gonna go in and save Brianna. And he's like, why would you go back in? It's a Slotherhouse. And but what I love about that is all 3 of the girls that are there with him groan. They're like, oh, okay, not the time, Tyler. He's like, what? I thought it would be funny.
Okay.
So that's where it's like it's self-aware.
I'll take it.
I kind of like that. That was
yeah.
Go to
yeah. So let's
hats.
Let's get to ratings. Will, how many nerd hats would you give this film?
I don't even know how many nerd hats because I feel like we're having so much fun. Excuse me, I had you on. We're just having so much fun. It was fun to watch it. I mean, I know when I actually did watch it, I didn't really laugh out loud, but inside it was like, yeah, that's funny. I don't know. It's been a blast just reviewing this thing, but I don't want.
Hey, Will, it's okay if it's 5. It's okay. It's okay. I won't judge you. Like, I don't think anyone else will judge you. It's one of those like, what else would 5 go to? There's just too many things out there. But if 5 went to this movie, that's okay. It's acceptable. It's good. It's fine.
I just don't want it to influence me to give it too many stars. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think you should give it all the stars and then some, because it's just because when you guys were like, oh, they know it's stupid. That makes all the difference. That makes all the difference. So all the hats are okay. Not to influence your opinion, but just saying.
I'm thinking of 4 nerd hats. And don't
what didn't get 4 hats?
Aquaman.
Yep.
Looking back on it, we should have given Aquaman 2.5.
We should do Aquaman again.
No.
Okay, fine, whatever.
No, we could go backwards and cover the first one.
I'll watch it and then I'll convince you guys to watch it again. All right. So Will, you said 4.
4 nerd hats. Okay.
I almost gave it 3.5, but I felt like it deserved better.
It did. It did. It knew what it was, and that's important. That's what Aquaman didn't. Aquaman didn't know what it was.
So I guess just for the purposes of this season, we have been kind of using Aquaman as the benchmark. Yeah, like which going into next season, I'm gonna rethink that because 3.25 was too high for Aquaman.
Yeah, thank you. I was sitting here like, excuse me.
Should have been 2.5.
I didn't watch it, and I'm like, no, there's no way. There's no way.
So if I were to throw Aquaman out, what the?
Please tell me we didn't lose anything.
It says it's still recording. Yeah, we cut out there for a minute, folks. So if you heard some interference,
if you heard the devil, that's what it was.
Yeah, and so hopefully you're hearing this part. But for my reading, like if I threw Aquaman out of there, I would say in general, this would be like a 2.5, but because it's self-aware about itself and I enjoyed it, I would bump it up to 3.
That's right.
But for this season at least, we've been using Aquaman as kind of the benchmark of like, if something's better than Aquaman, then we go above 3.25. So I think I'm gonna, like, in terms of production value, like, it's pretty solid. It's not as good as Aquaman production value because Aquaman obviously has a massive budget by comparison, but it was funnier than
Or
Aquaman.
should have been better.
And it was more self-aware than Aquaman, I must say.
So much more.
So I'm gonna say 3.75. I'm gonna give it at least a half nerd hat above Aquaman. I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed this film. Yeah, it was fun. And if it had not been self-aware, I think that's the main thing. If it had not been self-aware, I would give it a much lower rating because but it's like it was, and I like that. So
me, I just like dumb comedies.
Yeah, and honestly, this is probably more fun to review than Aquaman was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, nerd hatters. Thanks for joining us for another episode. This one's nice and short, 40 minutes ish. So thanks for coming along this very interesting ride on the most random movie that we've ever covered. I think it's fair to say. So until next time.
Sayonara.
Live long and prosper.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Nerds, Richard here. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. While you wait for the next one, I would like to invite you to connect with us online. There are several ways you can do that. You can follow us on Instagram at NerdhatPod, find and like us on Facebook at NerdHat, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nerdhat Entertainment, and of course, you can follow us on all the major podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music. Join us next time as we talk about more nerdy shit. Live long and prosper, nerds.